RBL Weekly back on the air. We are about to cover week 13 of the Roast Battle League season. I am the commissioner of the Roast Battle League, Pat Barker, joined as always by the beautiful and talented and brilliant. Brilliant was the one you liked, right?
Yeah.
Sarah Keller.
Hi. Oh, I miss the audience. I want laughter.
I know. Last week was so fun. If you haven't seen it, please go back and watch the live podcast we did from Tokyo. God, it was great.
All podcasts should be live and have audiences.
Right. To do it on stage in front of a crowd that was like really into it. It was a fun time.
Yeah.
And now we are literally in somebody's kitchen.
Yeah, we are.
It's a nice kitchen.
It's a kitchen.
It's I was trying to be diplomatic. It has all of the for refrigerator and everything. Yeah. But last week was so fun. So if you haven't seen it, go back and watch that. Tokyo in general, I know we talked about it a little bit last week. Just such an incredible experience to go over there and get to do that. I know we're both recovering kind of from the jet lag.
Dude, it's real.
Yeah, it's very, very real. I'm amazed that going out there, I don't feel like we had any. We got off the plane and just started kicking ass. And
yeah, that's what I remember from India, too, is like when I went there, it was like I felt totally fine. And then I got home and slept for like 4 straight days.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about. It's got to be like adrenaline and excitement of being
sure.
like on vacation or just 2 times in a week. Your body's like, go fuck yourself. What are you doing?
Right.
It's nighttime and you're waking up.
Yeah. It's been a lot since I got back, but all worth it for what amounted to an amazing trip. We judged battles. We battled ourselves. We did stand-up. We did the live RBL Weekly podcast. Just an incredible time. And I gotta say, congratulations to a couple people. Yourself and the current Los Angeles champion, Kelsey Lane. I didn't get a chance to touch on this on Sunday. The newest members of the 20 Win Club, a very exclusive group. There are 7 people to ever win 20 battles, and you are now one of them, along with Kelsey.
That's so cool.
Very cool, right?
Yeah, we should get jackets.
I would love that.
I want like the SNL.
Like the SNL,
Yeah.
like 5 Timers Club
Yes,
or whatever. Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, we could have gotten them in Tokyo. You should have told me. They had so many cool jackets that I was like, I don't know where I'd ever wear that, but I want it.
There is probably, through broken English, a jacket somewhere in Tokyo that's like 20 win battle roast, much respected honor club or something like
100%.
that. Yeah, we should have gotten those.
Dang it.
That would have been fire.
Missed opportunity.
Big time.
Can you imagine us roll it in with our jackets?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they don't have anything in Tokyo that fits me. I am a large man by any standards, but Tokyo specifically.
And to be fair, they didn't have, their sizes are crazy. Like, when I was shopping there, it was either, they had 2 sizes for shirts. Either so big, like if you watch the live RBL Weekly podcast, I was wearing a shirt. So either that size shirt or teeny, like doesn't fit me like t-shirt. And I am a small person.
Yeah.
And they did not fit me. So I don't understand how they do their sizing there or how humans wear their clothes. But
well, the average person is 80 pounds, and then they
Yes.
also have the sumo culture, and there's really nothing in between.
True. I did feel so jacked walking around there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like I felt like a bodybuilder, which is very funny to say. But I just, like, anytime like a woman would get in my way, I'd be like, I will fucking knock you down. Like, I felt so powerful.
Jesus, that is psychotic.
It must be how men feel walking around all the time.
I never feel that way. Every person I see, I'm like, that person could fuck me up right now if they
Even
wanted
me?
to. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I could. Let's be real.
Dude, I'm not. I had my last fight in 6th grade, and my dad had told me, like, if somebody's bullying you, you just stand up to the bully, and they will back down. And that worked for me once in 4th grade, and then in 6th grade, I tried it, and the bully just beat the shit out of me. And I was like, I'm retired. I'm done. I will just get bullied and keep my mouth shut, and that's been my policy ever since.
I got jumped in college, and I broke the girl's jaw, but
Damn.
that's the last time I was in a fight.
I would have never expected that story from you.
I know. I didn't expect it to happen. They came at me from behind and hit me over the head and pushed me into a steel door.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, now you only fight with words. You went to Tokyo. You dominated your battle. You kicked ass. It was a great weekend. footage coming up starting right now on today's episode. But just an absolutely incredible time. Thank you to Roast Battle Tokyo, JJ, my opponent Troy, your opponent Bill.
The best.
Evans, Jay Yamaki, all the new battlers. We did a new faces on Friday. All people battling for the very first time. They were all great. We were welcomed with open arms. It was an incredible experience.
Yeah, LA battlers, you got to step up your game.
Yeah, dude, Hal and Yasushi would fuck most of our new guys up.
Oh, please, Hal and Yasushi, come to LA.
Yeah.
Oh.
We would love to have you guys. If you didn't see the live podcast, two guys who learned to speak English 9 months ago, specifically for the reason of doing stand-up comedy. And if I began the process of like learning Japanese and wanting to battle in Japanese, it would take decades.
Yeah.
So very, very impressive from them. Very impressive stuff. And I'm excited to be back stateside, excited to be back doing RBL Weekly. And let's just get into the battles.
Let's do it.
Say? So we start with number 5 this week, and this is an interesting one because of one we watched last week. And we will get to that in a minute. But this features a guy we saw last week from London named Drew Stern, who had an impressive performance last week. And he is going up against the recent winner of the Roast Battle London Knockouts tournament, Shalaka Kurup, who has been on fire, and at the last publishing of the MVP rankings, was number 1. Ooh. So this is her first battle after winning the tournament. It is against Drew Stern, and it's the number 5 battle this week from London. Here it is.
All right, your next battle is between Drew Stern and Shalaka Kurup. You know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Battle! Battle!
Cool. This balding cuck is Drew Stern. Drew looks like his wife doesn't have his phone number saved. Drew looks like he uses Google Calendar to schedule his wife's sex appointments with other men.
This is Shalaka. Shalaka looks like a 12-year-old boy cosplaying as his own mum.
That's brutal, because Drew looks like the pregnant lady symbol on beer bottles. Drew's body can only be described as business in the front and party in the back. If the business is diabetes and the party is non-existent.
Shalaka is originally from India. She's from Bangalore. Bangalore is the name of the place she's from, and Bangalore is her favorite thing to do and how much she likes to do it.
Drew, a gender-neutral name for a genital-neutral person. Drew's penis is so forgettable, having sex with him is like a game of Where's Willie?
Shalaka looks like Velma in a Bollywood remake of Scooby-Doo.
Drew doesn't own any real estate, obviously. Apart from that massive forehead. That forehead's so huge, he refused to host Ukrainian refugees on there.
Shalaka is a massive fan of the Fast and Furious films, which, as a member of the basic bro community, I basically find cultural appropriation. She would prefer if all the men she slept with were more like Vin Diesel, masculine and heroic. But after they've had sex with her, those guys would prefer that they were more like Paul Walker, dead.
Drew's just triggered because Fast and Furious, what all of London calls his wife. way, this forgettable nonce is Drew Stern. Drew works in porn, but he's less babe station, more babe pig in the city.
Shalaka said some mean things about me tonight, but she is actually genuinely quite likable. And with that piercing through her nose, she's also very much like a bull. That's our 5.
Yeah!
Shlaka Corrupt and Tuesday!
That was number 5 this week. And the reason I find that one so interesting is we never put the judges' decisions on here, right? Everybody from the league sends me the results so we could track wins and losses, but we never watch them here. And last week we saw Drew versus Helen K in a battle where I think we all assumed Drew won.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Oh.
I went back and looked, and this is Shalaka Corrupt, number 1 in the MVP standings, the winner of the knockout tournament, going up against 0-2 Drew Stern, who lost a controversial decision, to say the least, to Helen K last week. And then he comes in and he knocks her off. And that's kind of one thing that I love about roast battle is, I don't know about you, I've never gone into a battle feeling confident like, oh yeah, I'm gonna beat this person. I always expect my opponent to have the best performance like of their lives, and that's what's cool about it. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day. And I thought Shalaka was really good, but I thought Drew was on another level in that one.
Yeah, I agree. I think they both started super strong. And then I think the Where's Willie joke was a bit of a turning point for Shalaka.
Yeah.
And then Drew didn't have that turning point. He stayed strong the entire time. I was interested in the Fast and the Furious, like, comeback and joke setup stuck out to me just because I'm like, okay, she clearly had that comeback ready. So how did that transpire? Did she just offer up, dude, I love the Fast and the Furious to like, so she could have that comeback? Or is she so about Fast and the Furious that she's like, I know he's going to joke about this?
Right.
Like I want to know the behind the scenes of that because it's so interesting to me.
I assume the latter, but the former is way more funny.
If you
just start planning traps,
Yes.
If you're like, I have a great joke about family matters, and you're just like, I'm a big Urkel guy. Like, make sure you mention that. Like, yeah, that's really funny, the idea that you could be planting that information.
I fully support that.
Me too. And the rebuttal was excellent. I was over here like, I guess she just came up with that on the spot, but you think pre-planned.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
But like, maybe not. Maybe that's just because I pre-plan everything.
Right.
And I'm not good enough to. I'm no Paige Wesley,
She is incredible. We're gonna get to that in a little bit. But
yeah.
I come up with rebuttals like 2 days after the battle. That happened to me in Tokyo. I was literally walking down the street and I'm like, "Fuck! I should have said the thing."
Oh,
God
100%.
damn it! Yeah. Yeah. There was a moment, and I think we'll see my battle at some point, so I'll save it. But there was a moment where he did a joke, and I'm assuming, I haven't rewatched it, but I'm assuming you could see my face just like trying to download a rebuttal. And just like the processing freezes.
I can't remember what moment it was, but there was a moment in your battle where I turned to Josh and I was like, I can't believe Pat didn't say.
I'm sure it's the exact same
and
one.
I
Because when
know,
I came up with it, I'm like, oh yeah, that was, how did I miss that?
I literally was like, I can't believe he missed that.
I know.
But you kind of said a different comeback, so I was like, oh, maybe he just didn't.
The one I was trying to think of a rebuttal for, I ended up just going like, hey man, that was a really good joke or something like that.
Yeah.
I had nothing. And then the next day I was like,
it
was right there.
We'll talk about this
We'll
later.
talk about it. Let's talk a little bit more about this battle. Shalaka came out firing. Drew looks like his wife doesn't have his phone number saved. Is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. And the Fast and the Furious rebuttal I thought was really good.
Phone number saved.
But he went on a run with like 12-year-old boy cosplaying as his own mother. The Fast and the Furious joke. Also Velma in the Bollywood remake.
Yep.
Drew Stern is a guy that we haven't seen, much from on this podcast, and then 2 weeks in a row he comes in and has really great performances. So
yeah, the 12-year-old cosplay and her pregnant lady on a beer bottle joke.
Oh yeah,
both of those were my favorite kind of joke, which is the more you look at the person, the funnier it gets. Like I kept after the 12-year-old cosplay, I kept looking away from the screen and then looking back and laughing harder each time. And I was like, that is the magic of a truly good looks like joke.
Absolutely.
Is like the more different parts of their body you look at, the more like, yup. Oh, it all goes together.
And when you can hit it at the very beginning of the battle,
Yes.
and then like you can't even watch the battle the same way.
Yep.
You know, you alluded to, and this is my last thought on the battle, is like sometimes you'll have a battle that's really even, and what sets it apart is one great joke. And then sometimes you'll have a battle that's really even, and what sets it apart is one joke that misses. And I thought Shalaka, with the body, the party in front, business in front, party in the back, I didn't feel like that one really connected. And then the Where's Willie, everything around that, you know, she was connecting, but sometimes that's the determining factor, is like you have a couple that don't land in the middle.
Especially in a 5-joke round. If you have one miss, that's
Yeah.
you mess up one word and you're dead.
100%. Yeah, you're going against somebody good, and obviously
Yeah.
Drew is somebody good. You can't afford to have like those little missteps. But great job from London, the leader in our international division. Just consistent work across the board, always pumping out good stuff. And their battlers, I think it's worth mentioning. Whereas some of us, we take a few months between battles. You know, really focus on one thing. Their guys are up there, I feel like, every week or every other week. And for them to consistently perform at a pretty high level is impressive.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, so let's keep it moving now. Let's go to the United States. This is number 2. It comes to us, or number 4, excuse me. It comes to us from Roast Battle Chicago, but it didn't take place in Chicago. They're starting to go on the road. They're starting to do some things. They had a show a few months ago in Indiana. This one comes to us from yeah, that's right. You're in Indiana. You have Indiana roots.
Yeah, but good for them.
Oh, she wants the battle.
Why did
in
I
Indiana
sound like
now.
Mary Poppins right there? Like,
So weird. Yeah.
anyway,
It
that's
seemed
awesome.
like you had really poignant thoughts about Indiana, and then you just bailed, and you're like, I'll just squeal and get out of here.
I just had a bunch of questions. And I was like, the audience doesn't care about that. So,
Fair enough. We'll talk off air. This one comes to us from Aurora, Illinois, home of Wayne and Garth, Wayne's World fame. And they did this one in the suburbs, and this was a really good battle, a lot of fun. This is between TJ Remick and Jessica Mizutano. Number 4 this week. Here it is.
2, 1.
Thanks a lot for taking time off from the Boat Owners Association to be here tonight. I don't know if you guys knew this, but TJ is the reason that Girl Scouts don't come to your door anymore. He's like Willy Wonka if the chocolate factory were just a collection of melted Hershey's bars in his basement.
Who can make the sun shine? Come on in my van. You're about to learn the depravity of man. The Candy Man. The Candy Man.
The musical theater his way out of that one.
Suck it, Dad!
Great singing voice. Yeah.
Suburbs versus the city tonight. Give it up for suburbs! Love it. Give it up for the city. All right, I'm repping the burbs tonight. I'm repping the burbs. I don't know what you've done in the burbs, but when people found out that I was roasting Jessica Mizutano, I got a message from every queer, every female, every comedian of color in the Chicago suburbs saying, destroy her. And when I messaged all 3 of them back, I said, how mean can I be? And then I thought back to the first time that I met you a few years ago. Jess has come a long way. When I first met her, she was addicted to drugs, horribly racist, and worst of all, out of shape.
Yeah.
And now through years of hard work, she looks terrific. Give it up for Jess. She used to look like she didn't know she was pregnant. Now she looks like she knows she's pregnant and smokes anyway. Okay.
Where is this coming from? Jesus Christ. TJ's a Twitch streamer. Oh. Yeah, that's funny in itself. If you don't know what a Twitch streamer is, that's just TJ's fancy way of saying he likes to abandon his family at night to talk to 14-year-old boys online.
Look, the boys love buying bathwater. I don't know what to tell you. The boys love it. Thanks to the years of drug abuse, Jessica has a really, really bad memory. Which, for anyone who's ever slept with her nose, is something to be very jealous of.
Oh, you're such a dick. Yeah, give it up for TJ. He's married, everybody.
Yeah, give him a hand, give him a hand.
It's quite the love story. He swooped her off her feet and then tied her to a train track. And you know what? He knew she was the one when she cut herself free and overpowered him.
You do follow my Twitch, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I keep tabs.
Thank you.
Keep tabs.
Jess had to get through some hard times. She was used to be a drug mule until she realized that that was body shaming for the mules. Jess failed at smuggling cocaine inside of a bunch of condoms because her body rejected the condoms.
Oh my God, there's no safe sex with this woman ever.
We got a latex allergy. TJ's a great comic, man. Like, he has this joke where he talks about he's like Hitler if he got into that art school. Yeah, it does. And I agree, I could see it. Like, you still caused the Holocaust. Like, no mistake about that. They were just happy little accidents.
I am not French, I promise you. Jess is the only woman in the United States of America who can still get an abortion in Texas.
Dude. If you knew me, you would know it was for the best. Dude, you got some Gallagher vibes on you. You look like... He does, and he looks like Gallagher fucked a boiled turtle. He looks like Gallagher if the only thing he smashed was his wife's self-esteem.
Jess, you have a face for glory holes.
Is there one more? Oh, fuck me. All right, hang on a second. Oh man, this one sucks. No, I wrote this when I was upstairs, but you remind me of the gopher from Caddyshack. Hang on, that's not the joke. This motherfucker's been calling me fat all night. You've got the body of Garfield in the face of its depressed owner. Motherfucker. You're like an anti-Semitic gonzo.
I do fuck chickens.
Yeah.
I do fuck chickens. Jess hates immigrants except for the ones who mow her back.
Let's see. How many more are left? Jesus Christ.
You guys got one more? You guys got one more? What do you want?
There you go.
You guys want more? You guys want more?
Hang on.
All right. There we go. All right. Here we go.
Oh, okay. Shut the fuck up. I got one.
Get him.
TJ has a baby. TJ, you don't clap for him?
No one gives a shit. No one like that.
You shouldn't.
Nobody
shouldn't
like
breed.
that.
I'm just curious about how you got her pregnant. Did you do it the natural way, or did your wife do it behind your back with your neighbor?
I keep a well-manicured lawn. It's very true. Guys, I want y'all to give Jess a round of applause. I love her. She's hilarious. Very funny comic. Truly hilarious. Yeah. She's been through some serious shit before, you know what I mean? I know at kind of her lowest points, she had to resort to dumpster diving, and I know that's tough, but I mean, it's hard sometimes to fill that 8,500 a day calorie quota, you know what I mean? It's hard. And I know she hit a low point when, at one point, instead of dumpster diving, she tried something different called dumpster cannonballing. And she broke 4 dumpsters with her big fat hand!
Yeah, give it up for that. Give it up for TJ. Give it up for Jessica.
Okay, so that was a number 4 battle this week, and much in the same way of the previous one where we talked about anybody can win. You have Jessica Mizutano, experienced battler, semifinalist in their tournament this year. She just battled last month for us at the Vulcan in Austin. Did great. One of their top people going up against TJ Remick, who I'm not familiar with. I don't think we've seen him on this podcast. I think this was his first battle of the season. And I thought he was outstanding.
I'm a little in love with him.
Oh, my God. Dude, you had me at a 4-bar joke song rebuttal?
That was... I want to watch it again and again. Like, that was one of the greatest moments I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I am so impressed.
Yeah.
Like, that was fucking like, what? How? Ah.
Right. I mean, we were impressed when he began it.
Yeah,
when he was just like, who can da 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 da, and we were like, oh, that's funny.
I thought it was just gonna be that.
And then he like added a weird like, I'm also a pedophile. Like that.
It was
unreal. Yeah.
I was like, oh, he wins. We don't have to watch this anymore. Like, the battle is over. And then it was hard for me to focus on the rest of the battle because I was still like reveling in that magic moment.
Yeah.
He brought me back to earth pretty quickly with that really long joke after. But at the same time, he had garnered so much goodwill and like excitement in me that I was like hanging on to every word he said.
And that's the thing. I think there's this idea in roast battle, and certainly it was an idea in LA where it's like the joke has to be
short,
7 seconds or under, or like whatever the invisible word count was. And it's like, I think you can get away with longer stuff as long as you could find a way to make it captivating and make them kind of like laugh throughout and everything like that. And he built up so much goodwill with that song that he was able to get away with that long first joke. And then, his stuff after that was kind of more in the range that we're used to. And like, I mean, he had some great stuff. Smuggling cocaine in her body, rejected the condoms. She's the only woman who could still get an abortion in Texas, which I don't know if that makes sense. It's one of those jokes where I'm like, if I really take the microscope to this one, what does it mean?
It means like they would even let her because they don't want.
Oh, because she's so
to procreate. Yes.
Okay,
yes,
it makes
yes.
total sense. I'm just an idiot.
Yep.
I couldn't figure it. It was one of those ones where I'm like, I don't totally know what that means, but I know it's funny.
But I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, and now it totally makes sense. My apologies, TJ. It was actually a very simple joke, and
such a good joke.
I'm an idiot. But he was, and she had some great towards the end. It was funny when she got to the end of like, my jokes, this one sucks. Those were the ones that were banging the hardest. The Garfield thing was great. And then her last joke was great. But at that point, I felt like he had already built up a pretty decent-sized lead.
100%. I am curious to learn. I wonder if he had opened with that first joke without the song, whew.
Yeah.
That would have... But
he was telling a story.
Yes.
And he was painting a picture with who Jessica is and how she is viewed by people of color and the queer community and all this other stuff. And he had the laugh when he's like, when I messaged all three of them back.
Yeah, that was a great
which was very,
joke.
very funny. And he was kind of painting a picture of her that he would then, go back to sort of here and there. For a couple of jokes, and I think that it was a risk kind of worth taking. I could see how it would backfire.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I don't know, because, again, I was fully on board
the
TJ train after that song. But yeah, I mean, he would have won it, I think, off of that song, the way that it went. But he had such really good jokes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, the mow her back,
Oh my
the
God,
face
dude.
for glory holes. That's one of those. I can't believe I haven't heard it.
I haven't
before.
heard it. Yeah. The best jokes
Yeah.
are either the one where you're like, how has nobody said that? Or like where they take, because I feel like you have a face for radio is like one of the oldest jokes like
100%.
ever written since the invention of radio. People
Yes.
have been telling that joke. And like, I've heard variations of it in roast battles. I've heard a couple people say like, you have a face for podcasts. And it's like, that's
right.
the same joke.
Uh-huh.
You just updated the medium. But the face for glory holes is wild.
Yeah, that was such a good joke.
It was really good. And one thing that makes Jess outstanding, the best roast battlers lose a lot. We talk about like the Keith Careys of the world, who out here, he's the guy that I think everybody puts on this pedestal. Everybody who was around the show in 2015 through 2018 knows that like that's the guy. And he's lost, I think, 24 battles. I think he's lost more than anybody ever. One of the most current, consistently entertaining ones is Digits.
Oh, yeah.
Who loses way more than he wins. Paige Wesley, who a lot of people would put up there, loses more than she wins, or she's around 500. She loses a lot. The best battlers lose a lot, but they put on the most consistently entertaining show. And Jess, as a great joke writer, great performer, also a great target and someone who takes the joke. She was laughing at everything.
Yeah.
She was sort of yes-ending it. She is a very entertaining battler, whether she's winning or losing, which is an art form that I think is hard to teach, but it's what makes people really great at it.
100%. I think like she did such a good job of staying in the moment and like having fun with him, and like it's really hard when someone has a moment like the Willy Wonka song to like not get at least for me, I get a little bitter, like, oh fuck, you just stole the show from me. And like it's hard not, and she really didn't. Like she stayed like she clearly was having a good time, and like I'm very impressed with her composure and like not professionalism, because like that seems like an insult in this medium, but like her experience clearly, and like as a comedian. And yeah, I mean, anything I'm saying about TJ is not to overshadow how great she was.
Of course. They were both great. I think with TJ, it's just because we've seen Jess. We know Jess is great. With TJ, it kind of came out of nowhere. And you're like, who is this guy?
With that dumb face, you're like, oh, let's give me that another fucking guy that looks like that, you know? And then he just comes out with this. Oh.
Yeah, he was awesome. I definitely hope to see more of TJ. They're doing great things in Chicago. I will be out there July 20th judging the battles in Chicago. I can't wait. I love the scene that they've built out there. It's so excited to go out and experience it.
I was just thinking, I was like, oh, July 20th, I should go.
You should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? Why not?
Look at the calendar.
Cheap plane tickets, as long as you're cool with flying Spirit, which as a poor person, I am. So we talked about how that battle was so entertaining because they both had fun with it, and the vibe when people are having fun up there is the best. Let's do a 180. Let's do something completely different and go to a battle that gets maybe a little bit contentious at one point. This comes to us from Denver, and I didn't know, frankly, where to rank this battle. This might be one of those where we watch it and we're like, oh, it should have been higher, should have been lower. But it's definitely less of a friendly vibe, especially kind of towards the end of the battle, and interesting and worth checking out. I enjoyed this one. This comes to us from Denver, number 3 battle this week between Emily Cornelius and Bailey Tyler. Let's check it out.
I'm so sorry, ma'am. I didn't realize that being a horse girl counted as a sport.
Emily. Wait, break it up. I haven't even started yet. Let's get this. Okay, these fucking are biting at the bit. And not a horse joke, okay? They're just biting at the bit. All right. I've got Emily Cornelius going first on this one. Wide right. Put some energy in the room for these two.
Bailey runs a show called The Brunch Show right here at Wide Right. The brunch show, it's kind of like a drag brunch, except for she's the only one still learning how to do her makeup.
If you got tips, tell me. Okay, Emily's pussy is so depressing and out of shape, men have nicknamed that bitch Garfield. They're just pulling that labia apart like layers. That is a community dish.
And Mama wants lasagna. If my pussy could talk, it would say, I hate Mondays.
Meow.
I am a little sore about it, but Bailey is a size medium. That's right. She's a middle child. She was in a mid-tier sorority in college, and she looks like the entire Midwest were one person.
Let's go. Let's go Kappa and let's go Michigan, baby. I love it. Emily looks like she's going to be the star of the next viral internet video. We just don't know if that's going to be a Karen freakout or the next installation of Blacked, but either way, she's going to take a pounding from the African American community. Lives matter. Black lives matter. Brian, that's not working here. Okay,
Guys, you don't have to remind us. Bailey did go to the protest so she could take a picture.
It's on my Instagram, one swipe down. You'll see it. You'll see it. I'm involved, Cesare. Okay.
Bailey is...
Go ahead. Take your time.
Take my time.
You're ready.
Whenever I'm ready.
Feel comfortable. It's your stage. Round of applause for Emily. She's trying. Hell yeah, baby.
I do want it to be known that Bailey Tyler is 25 and married. So
losers.
Sean, the police are on their way.
I like it older, you know, after this, maybe. Cesare, you're the only babe. Okay, Emily looks like a drowned weasel that you have to blow into its mouth to resuscitate, which coincidentally is the same technique she used for blowjobs until her uncle corrected her.
Right. Clap your hands for these two. Wide right, we're going to overtime. I got Bailey going first in this one. Put some energy back in the room for these two.
Stop creaming in your pants for me. I got one. Okay. Emily's a huge fan of The Little Mermaid, which makes me wonder, do you call all of your crabs Sebastian?
Everybody talks about how pretty Bailey is. She's so pretty. But she's still not pretty enough for her husband to make art that looks like her.
Almost, babe. Almost. One more?
Round of applause for the disappointed fathers. Fuck yeah. Did you two have fun?
Well, that was uncomfortable.
It got very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Let's get the good out of the way. There were some funny jokes. I can't believe we had back-to-back battles with a Garfield joke.
Yeah, is Garfield making a comeback? What's going on?
So many. I feel like we've had more Garfield jokes in this episode than every roast battle combined in the history of ever. 2 Garfield jokes is so many Garfield jokes. Bailey, the viral video joke was really funny. the Black Lives Matter rebuttal. She went to take a picture.
That was great.
And then Bailey's joke about the uncle with teaching her the blowjobs. That was all good. I enjoyed that. Do you have any more jokes to talk about, or should we just get to the meat of what made that so fucking weird?
Nope. I think you hit on the jokes that I liked.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we talked in the last battle about how like the chemistry and enjoying yourself up there makes it look really good. Here's what I'll say about Bailey. I thought Bailey had the better jokes. I thought Bailey had a strategy that was maybe conducive to winning in the short term. She won the battle. Congratulations.
That, just to be clear, Bailey was in the dress.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think this plays terribly on video for her. I think it looks very bad. In terms of like just sportsmanship, and we're up there putting on a show and everything like that. Like you won the battle, but maybe lost the war, because I watched that and I'm just like, that isn't somebody that I'm like excited to see a lot more of. In a way, I am, because I want to see what she's like, because I really thought she wrote some great jokes, and I want to see what she's like without all the little like antics and interrupting and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, before the turning point in the battle, one of the things I wrote down was like they're not looking at each other. And I think that was, now looking back, was an indicator of what was to come, because they like we hear Jeff Ross say this all the time of like, look at each other. And I think the reason for that is because it connects you.
Yeah.
It also helps you sell your joke, because like, especially if you're saying it looks like and you're looking at them, you can sell it, but it connects you and it reminds you that you're on stage with another person. They did not look at each other. And so I think it's a lot easier to slip into the competitive and lose the spirit of the battle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think happened. I also thought this was a really interesting example of like one of the things that I've talked about on this podcast a lot, which is chivalry in a battle.
Mm-hmm.
And like during the live pod, I kind of touched on, I think you should let your opponent finish a joke, but there are moments where an interruption is warranted or appropriate. And I do think that Bailey's initial interruption of it's the first post down was perfection. Emily paused and left a big opening in her like setup rebuttal, and Bailey took it, and not in at first, not in a competitive, sabotaging, unchivalrous way. It was just a back and forth.
It was a yes end.
It was a yes. Thank
you. She made a joke about me. I am going to acknowledge it. Have a little remark that's 5 words long or whatever. I say it while the crowd is already laughing. Fine, no problem.
100%. Where it turned, which was obvious to you and I, was when that chivalry ended, and I don't know if Bailey forgot that Emily hadn't said her joke yet.
Well, Emily started. Emily said, Bailey looks like, and then there was a slight pause.
Right.
And then that's when Bailey pounced. When there was that slight pause, Bailey looks like, and I don't know if in that moment Emily forgot her. Sometimes you forget it and pick it back up in a millisecond.
I missed it. I missed Emily's setup then. Like I knew she set up the joke and didn't finish it, but it didn't feel like an interruption for some reason. Like
I think if you go back, because I didn't catch it the first time because I reviewed this battle for this. I had to go back and rewatch it.
So everything I just said is wrong.
No. I think you're on the right track. I don't think, but I think maybe you're giving Bailey too much credit in thinking that like maybe she didn't understand that Emily, the rebuttal wasn't the actual joke. Emily definitely started a joke. She said Bailey looks like, and she ended up doing a different non-looks like joke.
Okay, maybe that's
once
why
she got interrupted. It's a confusing thing, but she definitely started a joke, and then Bailey kind of pounced. And Bailey had this energy where it was like she wanted the attention on her
100%
the entire time.
Yep.
You know, when they said she's married, she's a loser, which was funny. That's funny.
Yes.
But then when they said she's so pretty, she's doing this whole thing into the camera. And like, she just had this energy where it's like, hey, you guys are invited to the Bailey Tyler show. You can be here too, Emily. Which I don't think plays very well. I mean, I honestly think what makes a great battle is when your opponent is telling a joke, you shut up and get out of the way, and maybe you're processing what you're going to say after or whatever, but you're going to laugh at your opponent's joke if it's funny. You're not trying to undercut it and be like, how can I make them look less funny to the crowd?
Yeah, and how can I make this moment about me?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, their joke is about you. That's the amount of about you it needs to be in that moment.
Exactly.
When they're finished and you want to add to it and pull the attention back to you, 100%. And, like, take their applause if you can, but not during the joke.
And to the point where I feel like it was to the point where it was a detriment. It was a detriment to Bailey. She wrote these really funny jokes.
Yeah.
She wrote really funny jokes, and I would imagine most people came out of the battle thinking just like, well, that was weird, that was uncomfortable, that was awkward. Do those two dislike each other? Like, I had to watch it, 3 times before I was like, oh shit, Bailey's got some really funny shit in there. I think if she had just played it cool and let that stuff stand, instead it becomes all about like the other thing.
100%.
Like, remember that Pistons-Pacers game where they ran up in the crowd and started punching the fans?
Of course I remember that.
Even as a non-sports fan, I thought she might get that one. Like, we just discussed how she has Indiana ties. There was a game 20 years ago. There's like 30 seconds left in the game. The teams get into like a little altercation. A fan throws a drink on the court. Ron Artest runs up in the crowd and throws a punch at a fan. Turns out it was the wrong fan, which is hilarious. But then next thing you know, the players are in the stands. They're throwing punches at the fans. The fans are coming on the court. It was crazy.
I think I did know this.
Yeah. My point is, if you were a guy who scored 30 points in that game, nobody remembers that.
Right.
Everybody remembers the part where the fans were fighting the players.
Right.
Let your play speak for itself. And in the case of Bailey, your joke writing speak for itself. Instead of, you created this weird moment where all of a sudden it's not really as fun, I think, for anybody. It's interesting to watch and break down, and I want to see more of Bailey because I think she's a good joke writer. But I hope next time, let your opponent have their shine too.
100%. Yeah, that's what chivalry to me means, is letting your opponent have those moments also. And to me, if you do interrupt or not talk over them, because I don't think you should ever do that, but you're interrupting maybe to save them from like the times that I think it's appropriate to interrupt or talk when it's out of your turn is when like your opponent has forgotten their joke and they need a minute, and you say something like to give them a moment to breathe, but not in a no, go ahead. Like, that's
not what this was. That's not what this was. This was a
Right.
taunting thing. It was a condescending thing, and it might have been an effective strategy for. It definitely got Emily
definitely,
rattled,
100%.
which I feel bad about.
I do too, because I've been there, and it.
Yeah,
Sucks.
and to have an opponent like actively fucking with you. And the thing is, from the perspective of trying to get laughs from the crowd, I want my opponent to do great. I want to keep building.
Yeah.
My joke crushes, their joke crushes a little bit harder. My joke crushes a little bit harder. To step on that momentum and make yourself start back at ground zero seems counterproductive to me.
100%.
So despite all the flaws, I thought it was it was a fun battle. It's an interesting breakdown for sure, and I hope to see more of them, but with a little bit, less of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little more chivalry. I will never stop saying that word.
Yeah. It's appropriate, so I appreciate it. Here's a battle. Now we're gonna get back into more of the spirit of everybody's having fun up there. If you want to see a couple guys sort of yes-end their opponents and really lean into the jokes that were just made about them, this is the right battle for you. This comes to us from Austin at the Comedy Mothership last month, a few weeks ago. This is Casey Rocket versus Colin. Yeah, exactly. Casey Rocket is a fun watch against a guy who I don't think I'd seen battle until this one, and I was really impressed. Casey Rocket, Colin O'Meara, Austin, number 2. Here it is.
This next guy, he's a fucking local legend right now. He works here. This is making loud for Casey Rocket. You know this guy.
Yeah.
Why are you battling this guy?
I need to work. Earn it pays.
Hey, Colin, I got good news and I got bad news, sweetheart. The good news, I'm clocking out. The bad news? No. The roast doctor just clocked in. Some folks are bone. All right.
You guys have a weird medical practice down here in Austin, I gotta be honest. Now, why are you battling this cat?
One of my worst enemies all time. He's waged a campaign of terror on my family for going on 2 decades now. And stop at nothing until I get my own unique brand of justice. So.
All right. Let's get into it. It's 1 round, it's 5 jokes. Bill or Ted, who's going first in this one?
All right, I'll go first.
You got this?
All right, yeah.
Folks, you ready for this? This is all Austin right here. Battle! Let's
go! I feel like Casey would hit his girlfriend if he came home and find out that she played with one of his Hot Wheels. What the fuck?
What are you doing, Mitch? Colin's like an old oak tree, because you can count his rings to see how long he's been a douchebag.
Yeah. It's 3 years. I'm wearing a cock ring too, but Casey reminds me a lot of Popeye the Sailor Man. If instead of spinach, it was ketamine, and instead of getting stronger, it finally made the voices stop. You shut the fuck up! You shut the fuck up while I'm driving!
Speaking of driving, Colin got shit-faced and crashed his car 2 months ago. He wasn't trying to be reckless, he was just trying to find a shortcut to his dad's house. In heaven. His dad's dead.
First off, I know my dad, and he's in hell, okay? Bad. It's cool. I feel like Casey's the king of the Austin homeless people. They're all out there washing windows so that he can make dozens of dollars a day.
A lot of people say if they could go back in time, they would kill baby Hitler. Not me. If I could go back in time, I would just kill Colin's dad one more time.
Yeah. Well, Casey, he beat you to it. He's a man of action. He does it himself. My dad shot himself. You should have been there. It was great. Look, if you guys are wondering why Casey's like this, he's got permanent brain damage from running into brick walls trying to get to Hogwarts. I gotta get the potion class. Boink. Boink.
Dobby. Okay. Dobby. Oh shit, your dad called. He's a ghost. Okay. Literally dead.
Oh shit, your tooth called. It's also a ghost.
Never had it. Birth defect. Okay, so. Man, Colin's really changed since he moved to Austin. He kind of sold out. Well, the first day Colin came to Austin, I will never forget this. The first thing Colin said to me, he said, Casey, I hate the black people. Because Colin's super fucking racist.
I thought he was one of those like awake Asians or something. I didn't really know what's going on. It's funny that Casey's wearing that shirt because he looks like he's constantly pacing around waiting for a terminal diagnosis. Like, just give it to me straight, Doc. How much longer do I have to fucking live?
I'm just at the Walgreens pharmacy counter.
Yeah.
We can't.
What do you mean I can't buy more than that much Robitussin? What the fuck is going on? I got bills to pay.
Let me talk to Biden. Goodbye down the horn.
Get Colin's dad.
You rang? Yeah, ghost. Yeah, Colin's dad died in his arms. That's probably because the only CPR Colin knows is capicola, parmesan, and rigatoni.
Keep it going! Colin O'Meara, Casey Rocket.
Jesus Christ.
How the fuck was that number 2?
So this has been the by far most difficult week for determining number 2 and number 1.
There's no fucking way anything could be better than that.
Well, I mean, you were there. We were just in Tokyo.
Yeah.
So.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Now look, I was in the room for both number 1 and number 2.
I forgot about that
this week, and I would say this: being in the room for both, I thought for sure that the Tokyo one was going to be number 1. And then watching them back on tape, it's almost impossible to decide between the two.
I forgot what that number 1 was going to be this.
Jet lag.
Spoiler alert, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's fine. They're going to get there. But so this was by far the most difficult decision. I had to rewatch both of these battles like 3 or 4 times just to figure out which one was number. It should be a tie, frankly. Like, in the room, I thought this one was really, really good, and then it plays even better on camera.
Video.
Yeah, for sure. And then the number 1 battle was great in the room and great on camera, but it's impossible to decide.
Well, now that I remember what the number 1 was, okay, it can be topped. I was just going off of
how good
that was. Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Oh, fuck, where to even start? Okay.
You took a lot of notes on this one.
I did, and I also didn't want to because I didn't want to miss a second of it.
Yeah.
Because it was so fucking good. Okay.
This broke her brain.
It did.
This is
Do you
wild.
have somewhere to start?
Yeah,
okay.
sure. I mean, I'll start with just the exact opposite of the last battle in terms of how they were ending everything. Colin is like, yeah, my dad dying was hilarious. You know, they're both just going back and forth, and they turned what would have been 1 or 2 good moments into 5 or 6 good moments by embracing it and playing with it and having fun. And, you know, the back and forth, the chemistry. Casey could get away with just being a character, but he is also a sensational joke writer.
That is literally verbatim what I wrote.
That's the thing. Like, He's got the goofy shit, the capicola, parmesan, oregano.
And the weird forward crab walk he does in every battle. Every battle. He does that.
Yeah, every stand-up set, everything he does that crab walk. He could just be a character. But he also, the first 2 jokes, you can count his rings to see how long he's been a douchebag, is incredible.
One of the best jokes.
Really, really good. And then taking a shortcut to his dad's house. It's insane. And like, from a roast battle perspective, what I would have tried to do is probably establish the fact that his dad was dead first, so that when you say shortcut to his dad's house, that's the punchline. But he did it without that, and then added his dad's in heaven, which is amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, he is, I think, a very rare thing, which is an incredibly compelling character. We have not even a lot. We have very few incredibly compelling characters in roast battle. We don't have any that are actively battling right now that I can think of that are also top tier joke writers.
Yeah.
And I would put Casey up there with the best of the best. Wow. Like you were saying, I would have set it up ahead of time,
right?
And thought like, oh, it won't work to add it at the end,
right.
But it did perfectly to add, oh, he's dead, at the end. And I thought, compared to our last battle, Casey showed how to add to the moment, add to the joke without making it about himself. Because there were times where Colin was telling really good jokes and Casey would do a little thing to add to it.
Yep.
But it wasn't distracting, and I think there's a lot of elements to that. Casey paces during the stage, but when he would do a thing to add to what Colin was saying, he would stop and be still.
Yep. That's a great observation. Yeah.
And I think that adds to it without distracting because you're not physically moving and it's like the opposite, actually.
And also, he let it get a laugh first.
Uh-huh.
Let it get the joke get the shine it deserved, and then he tagged onto it like the Hot Wheels thing. He let Colin do the joke. He even let Colin have like a little like act out, and then he did his act out, which was great. The back and forth about the terminal diagnosis, and then Casey was like, "I'm at the Walgreens pharmacy," and then Colin had the Robitussin thing. Everything they did elevated their opponent. It elevated the battle. It made it better. It was just a masterclass in kind of how to do that. And Casey, I think the timing and, like you said, the movement and just letting Colin let his jokes hit.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay if my opponent has great jokes. We want that.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
That's a good thing.
Absolutely. And then if you can elevate the great joke, even better. But at no point was it like... Whereas the last battle, it seemed like their objective was to win, or at least Bailey's objective was to win. Both of those guys, their objective was to crush in front of 250
and
people.
They did. And I honestly, I don't know who won that. I just fangirled on Casey. I want to fangirl on Colin for a little bit.
Yeah.
His jokes were incredibly well written. His fucking comebacks were so goddamn good. He had a comeback for every single thing. He had a comeback for Casey's comebacks. The Hogwarts joke made me laugh louder than I've ever laughed during this podcast. It made me do my dumb, loud laugh.
It did. And as somebody who's never seen Harry Potter, I'm like, that's how I know it's an incredible joke based on how loud you laughed at it.
It was so fucking good. It was so good. I love that joke so much. And like for Colin to do as well and like have it truly be like, I don't know who won that. I probably could go back and watch it 2 more times and maybe decide. But like right now I'm like, I don't know, they both win. The audience wins. Against Casey, who I think was at his what do you say, top form? Top
peak.
form. Peak form.
Thank you. The most Casey Rocket you can possibly be.
In all the good ways.
Yes.
And Colin 100% kept pace with him and is not someone I've seen before. So like incredible. I'm just
Yeah. I mean it was really, really good. I think I said as a judge, Casey Rocket feels like a cheat code. Like the analogy I use, and I apologize, it's another basketball thing, but there's this guy Steph Curry. Maybe you've heard of him.
Yeah.
So when he came into the league, people shot 3-pointers, but it was always from a foot behind the line, and they shot a couple a game. And then Steph Curry started pulling up 12 feet behind the line and just shooting it from damn near half court and making them. And it changed the way basketball is played in the entire NBA. And now teams shoot way more 3-pointers than they did before, in large part because of Steph Curry. And people, their range has gotten longer. They shoot it from 32 feet instead of 27 feet or whatever.
Dude, I can't even make a free throw.
It's same.
It's so far.
But when he first showed up, he was a cheat code like Casey Rocket, where it's like, how do we defend that?
Yeah,
what do we do? We're supposed to put a guy near half court to defend that? That's crazy. And like I think Casey Rocket's the same way. Like if you go in and you strategize how to beat him, I don't know what you even do.
Yeah.
I think the best you could do is strategize how to play off of him and have the most fun battle possible, which is 100%. What Colin did, and it resulted in an incredible battle.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm so impressed with both of these men.
Absolutely. Hats off. Could be number one literally any other week. Just so happened to come in a week where, and frankly, some people might see this and be like, hey, 2 should have been 1. I'm not mad at any debate. If you guys feel like I fucked it up and 2 should be 1, let me know in the comments. I'm fine with that. Because we are talking about 2 very incredible, similar in some ways, different in other ways, battles. This is the number 1 battle for us this week. And maybe it's because I was waiting off to the side of the stage, and I had to follow this.
Yeah.
This came right after your battle. So you're basking in the glory of a dominant win.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how the fuck am I going to follow this?
And I was like, oh, no one is going to remember my great performance.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's true, too. We were definitely overshadowed in Tokyo, which is totally fine. This features one of my favorite people, one of my favorite battlers, and one of my new favorite people who I got to know a little bit in Tokyo. What a great guy. This is Paige Wesley from LA versus Jay Yamaki from the Tokyo Comedy Bar at Roast Fest 2023. It's the #1 battle this week. Here it is.
No, hello. Is that on? Oh, this is going well. So, I thought the theme of the battle was people who struggle to get in and out of photo booths. But can I just say, genuinely, this has been so hard because Paige is a hero of mine, absolute roast battle hero, and she's lovely as well, for fuck's sake. Like, yeah, she looks like she smells of walnuts and icing. She's so nice. And like, so I wanted to give her a great roast battle, yeah, but so I asked a bunch of veterans, they're like, don't do fat jokes. She's heard them all, she'll destroy you. And I was like, okay, no fat jokes. I'll try and find some different angles. So I had a look, and it all leads back to fat jokes, guys. What are her hobbies? Cooking and collecting kitchenware. What does she post on Instagram? Pictures of food. What was her job before comedy? She used to work at a cookware store. What does she talk about on stage? Working at a cookware store. And hot dogs, and eating, and being fat.
Consistency.
Is what she craves in her food. Any illnesses, lung problems. And what about her family? Her mother's Italian, and Italians are famous for two things: eating pasta and doing this. So enjoy 7 rounds of fat jokes, guys!
Let's go!
Paige Wesley is the first hit on a Google image search for the question, how does the world picture America?
Nonsense, I'm not an AK-47.
Just a size 47.
You guys wouldn't know anything about that. You don't carry above free size here. It's true, I'm fat. Jay looks like he refers to sex as swashbuckling.
Not just looks like. Yes, it's true, Paige is fat. Her portrait is landscape.
I'm fat, but you look like a vampire that only feeds on shorter vampires. Jay has a 7-year-old son, and he knew it was his kid when it came out playing smooth jazz.
Yes, usually I get the Kenny G reference.
You're more like Kenneth G, because you're British.
Kenny G actually wrote a song called Silhouette. If you wrote it about you, you'd have to call it Eclipse.
You know a lot about the moon, Nightwalker. Jeez.
Fuck yeah! Well, it's appropriate we're talking about this because Paige is into horror stories like Alien, The Thing, and her blood test results.
You look like your 23andMe is just bats. Jay is married to a Japanese woman. I'm sorry, I fucked that up. Jay purchased a woman out of a shipping container.
And you tried to eat her, so...
When you're in Japan, you do as Godzilla do.
Yeah, you probably realized when Paige was here because of all the fleeing citizens.
I know how to make men scream.
Yeah, scream, get off, get off! I'll go on top!
They do always get off.
Paige's husband looks like a Viking. Damn straight. Oh my God.
Like I Googled pictures earlier. Don't worry about it.
He is. He's a sexy man. And he looks like a Viking, strange lady. And, who should shut the fuck up for a second? But welcome. Paige's husband looks like a Viking. He married Paige because he wanted to explore an untouched landmass.
And when this battle is over, I will put you in a boat and put coins on your eyes for the ferryman as we fire flaming arrows at it. Jay injured his wrist and his lower back skateboarding. You look like the only skateboarder who takes pipe instead of riding it.
It's funny because it's true, really. So what do Paige and a pilot flying an old plane over the North Pole have in common? What? They're both likely to die from too much icing.
That's where Santa's workshop is. We got to get the cookies to go with it, clearly. Jay has OCD, so he can't even walk down the street without compulsively touching every single woman without her consent.
I'm guessing Paige has OCD, an official curtain designer.
Oh.
So Paige is a genuinely caring person. She cares a lot about her family, and she's very supportive and charitable to people in need. You could say that Paige is the embodiment of humanity. You could also say that Paige has a body meant for a huge manatee.
Love to swim. Love it.
No, you don't.
I don't know if you know, I'm from the Bay Area. Not San Francisco, just where my pod left me. Jay used to teach English in Japan because girls can't say no if you don't teach them.
And the guys can say hi, which is what they'd have to be to sleep with you.
But then they get addicted, so...
And so last joke, guys, but I'm sorry you've had to put up with so many fat jokes, but it's impossible to find angles on a circle.
It's true. I'm fat, I'm round, I'm not flexible. Jay used to be a contortionist, but after seeing you in person, you've put me off pretzels for life.
Yeah, right.
That was so much fun. Oh my God. Yeah, holy shit. Oh, come on, let's keep it going. This might be the best battle I've seen in person. That was fucking crazy. Yeah, man. Whatever happens today, this guy's gunning for a title shot. So. All right. I do not. And okay, hold on. If you thought Paige took it, make some noise. If you thought Jay took it, make some noise. You guys, everyone, yeah? Let's hear it. If you want one more joke, let's hear it. One more joke. All right. It comes down to just this joke. Who's going first? All right, let's do it.
Jay went to the UK to try and be a stand-up comedian professionally, but he ended up back in Japan. So they didn't like your jokes there, and you're going to outsource it to Asia?
They're cheap, like your dress.
Nonsense, this much material is expensive.
Yeah, in all fairness, they do things knock off at the circus, don't they? So, Paige has been roasting for a long time, so she should be done by now.
Low and slow, baby, low and slow.
Jay Yamaki! Paige Wesley! Keep it going!
Personally, you ranked them correctly.
Thank you.
Watching it back again, it was just as good as I remembered it, and Casey and Colin were fucking awesome. This was top 0.1 of the 1%.
Yeah. It's so hard to, because I was thinking about that both in the room and watching it back now. It's really hard to determine the greatest battle ever, because there were 3-rounders versus 1-rounders, and there's all these different criteria. But what I could say is, for that type of battle, the rapid fire rebuttals, there's never been one better than that.
Absolutely not.
There has never been a battle like that was better. I stand by that. I've seen thousands of battles, as have you. Nobody has ever done that at the caliber that they just did it.
Nope. No, it was absolutely breathtaking. I've seen Paige, and her comebacks she's fucking terrifying because you can't touch her. And to see someone go toe-to-toe with her and keep up with her, I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah.
I truly did not think that was possible. I think Paige is beatable, but you have to do it in jokes, and she has to misstep in her jokes.
Yeah.
I did not think you could keep up with her comeback-wise.
It was so good for a while there that if I was a conspirator, if I was a fan of Roast Battle who saw that, I would think that had to have been pre-planned by both of them. They had to have scripted that entire battle. That's the level it was at, and how quick the rebuttals were. As a person who sat in an Airbnb with Paige the day of and watched her go through her jokes and be like, none of this is good enough, I could say definitively nothing was pre-planned about that.
I was literally just going to say, I was like, I might think that if I had not seen Paige pacing outside of the showroom before the show.
Yeah.
And go, can I go over the joke? Are you sure this is good? I'm like, dude, yeah, that's fucking great. You're great. Yeah,
I sat with her that day, and Paige writes in a way different style than I do. I know I've talked about it on the pod before, but that sort of visual, the way you see somebody and the way she writes jokes. For instance, her first 3 or 4 jokes looks like he refers to sex as swashbuckling, and then a vampire who only feasts on smaller vampires or whatever. My brain doesn't exactly work that way. So she's running them by me in the Airbnb. I'm like, yeah, it could work. Yeah, it's probably decent. Yeah, but I always add the asterisk where it's that's not how my brain processes information. You know what I mean? So I was like, I think she's going to do good. Yeah, if you had asked me ahead of time, I would have been like, yeah, I think she's going to do good. And then for her to just come out and just keep firing, and then he just keeps firing, and everything they did elevated the other one, and they rode this wave and just kept building this bigger and bigger wave, and on the heels of the number 3 battle, which was so contentious, and then compared to the number 2 and then number 1, you're seeing how it's supposed to be done by people who are great at this. And for Jay, who is a huge fan of Roast Battle, who is a huge fan of Paige, who has studied this and done the Japanese style. We watched Jay versus Evans Masoka a few weeks ago, which was in the more traditional overseas style of the longer jokes and the meandering setups, and you try to get a couple punchlines in. He came into this and said, I want to do the LA style against Paige Wesley. He requested 7 jokes. He ended up doing 50 jokes.
Yeah.
He wanted this. He could have been like, oh, it's my home field. This is how we do things here. He was like, I want to bring that style to here. And goddamn, he fucking crushed it.
Yeah, to go back to when Paige was reading her jokes, I feel like hearing how you hear her jokes and hearing how I heard them, I would imagine that you and I would probably be the perfect 2 people to run them by, because I have the exact opposite. The swashbuckling, when she read that to me, was hands down my favorite joke.
Yeah.
It made 100% sense to me. I love a joke with a silly word in it. If you can get a silly word in a joke that's really good, I'm 100% on board. But there were some of her more like maybe intelligent jokes, like that I was like, oh yeah, that'll probably work. And I'm sure those are the ones that you were like, no, 100%.
The wordplay type of stuff.
Yeah.
For sure. And frankly, even a couple of those, like she added these theatrical elements, like the OCD one. When she read it to me in the Airbnb, I'm like, yeah, it's solid. But then when she did it on stage, she's like compulsively touching every single woman without their consent. She didn't do it that way in the Airbnb. She just read it off the paper.
She
and
Chris
I'm like,
rocked you. Yeah. Do you know, like when he's preparing a special?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so just really monitor, like, here's the words in the joke.
To see if the joke is good. Then he adds his
exactly
style to it.
I was blown away by everything. I didn't even write jokes down because,
you can't.
You did. You started to, at least.
I did, because I felt like I needed to. Yeah. But one of my favorite things is a roast joke that starts with a compliment. Mm-hmm. Especially so when Jay started his Paige is a really good person joke, I was like, oh, I'm already on board. Like, I fucking love it when you're like, nah, but really, like, this is a good person. And then to end it with humanity, which was so fucking stupid and silly and brilliant.
Yeah.
That it combined all of the things I love in jokes in one joke. I was so glad I wasn't judging this. I was sitting there being like, no, everybody wins.
Yeah.
I can't say enough good things about
Even after
Paige.
the overtime, I don't know. I mean, this is truly the embodiment of like, it doesn't matter who wins and loses.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
And the overtime made me think of something, which is it's very fucking hard to be going first in overtime.
Yeah.
Is a death sentence 80% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
The only way you can win is if their joke sucks.
Yeah.
Usually, because you don't get a comeback, you don't get a rebuttal. Paige managed to have 3 rebuttals in overtime. Yeah.
Well, they had set the bar
Yes.
to where it's like, I'm not going to not take another crack at this thing because everything's working. It's just one of those magical nights where like everything works, and it's incredible to be a part of, to see. Even as just an audience member, I can't imagine what that felt like on stage, knowing that everything you're about to say is probably going to crush.
Yeah, I bet Jay went home and swashbuckled the shit out of his wife that night.
I mean, yeah, it was outstanding. Yeah, going first in overtime, I don't want to give away too much strategy, but a lot of times that's why I volunteer to go first in the regulation. Because in LA, if it goes to overtime, they switch the order.
100%.
And
which is what they did there.
Yeah, they did do it there. Yeah.
That is always my thing, is like, do I think this is going to go into overtime? Then I want to go first.
Yeah.
But if not, then I'm going second.
Yeah, but I mean, clearly this is beyond roast battle strategy.
Yeah.
This is beyond winning or losing a battle. This is creating a moment that is like just legendary. Like, we were there. It was legendary.
Yeah.
Roast
battle strategy is a lot like strategy in gambling or like poker. Like, you can have as much strategy you want, but it still comes down, not down to chance, but you still don't know what the fuck's gonna happen.
There's a lot of that, and also there's a lot to be said for there could be somebody who has a ton of strategy in poker and makes it their career, and they're probably not having as much fun as the guy who lost $100 at the craps table and is hammered.
100%.
You know what I mean? When you're having fun, it's contagious, and that's exactly what we saw there. So,
but enough about Keith Carey. Just kidding.
I mean,
this was a
outrageous, great episode.
Great episode.
Great battles.
Yeah.
Watching them back here, even like, from number 5 on, like every battle had something different to offer, something fun. London, Chicago. The bar has really been raised.
100%. I feel like every episode there's less and less for me to point out and talk about.
It's all just good. And I feel bad for New York. Sent us a great battle this week. Andrew Manning versus Ish Gupta. I want to get those names out there because those guys had an outstanding battle. I was like really impressed. It was one of the first ones I watched, and I was like, well, this is going in for sure. And then you just watch more and more, and you're like, damn, that's out, but it shouldn't be. It's so good. Barcelona sent us some fun stuff. There were really good options this week, and every week it gets more and more competitive, but in the best way, where it's like people are competing by just having fun. You know what I mean? And that's what Roast Battle is all about. So
100%.
Appreciate you guys tuning in. This was not quite as fun without a live audience, but we're gonna deal with it. We're gonna make it work. Thank you guys, as always. Tell a friend who doesn't watch Roast Battles. Watch this shit for the best battles in the world every week. Until next time, I'm Pat Barker.
I'm Sarah Keller.
And we'll see you guys then. RBL Weekly. Bye, everybody.